Hello. A few months ago, I uploaded a video about this iron farm that makes over 4,000 iron ingots per hour, and I guess I realized I could probably went over that better because a lot of questions were asked, so I'm making this video to kind of follow it up and answer those questions, just so I don't have to do it in the comments anymore. For some reason, my funnels aren't picking up any of the cobblestone, and it's all falling onto the machine or the floor instead of getting put into the item vault. So the funnels not picking up any of the cobblestone has to do with the arrows on the side of them. You can see these funnels on the top face down into the vault, which means that they will be picking up the items instead of depositing them. You can see these ones are also facing into the vault, and if I look, you can kind of see the top arrow of this little brass funnel, but that is facing away from the vault. Now, these don't actually specifically interact with the vault. The way these work is they input the items that fall on top of them into this barrel right here. This barrel is technically like the middle storage system between the generator and the vault. The brass funnel will then pull items from the barrel, making them fall down in front of these funnels, which will then pick them up. So if you're having trouble with the whole collection system, make sure that the funnels on top of the vaults are all facing downwards. The brass funnel connected to the gantry systems is facing outwards, so the arrow will be facing outwards. And the way you change those is by holding shift. So if I go and click an andesite funnel, you can see if I just place it down normally, it starts pulling items. And if I hold shift, it will not start pulling items because the arrow faces the other way. How do the gantries move back and forth? For me, if they hit the end, it just stays there until I change the rotation. For the gantry systems themselves, you're going to want to make sure that both of these are glued together. If I grab myself a nice little piece of super glue, you can see these guys are all glued together in one square. So they are technically connected to one another, and they're also connected to the trapdoors and the funnels behind them. And the way you get these to move back and forth is with these gantry shafts facing opposite directions. So if I come out here, you can see if I just start placing gantry shafts, you can see they all go the same way. What you're going to want to do is hold shift when you're placing one. So you're going to place two down for the normal one, and then hold shift and attach it to the other end. And you can see just in the middle there, those two don't connect, and the little spiral pattern around the gantry shaft changes its direction. You can see if I put a gantry carriage on this side, it moves to the left, and if I put one on this side, it moves to the right. Now, the reason why this works is because if you have them glued together before they start moving, they're going to kind of pull on one another. And whatever side has the open bit, so let's say, obviously this one has the left side open. If we turn on the system, you can see it moves left and then makes its way to the end of the shaft, which turns it back into a block and not a moving mechanism, which then causes this gantry to start pulling on the other one, pushing it back the other way. And once that becomes solid again, then it just repeats the process over and over. Another question is about the cobble generator itself, specifically what breaks the blocks and why the lava inside of these fluid tanks does not get consumed. What's specifically breaking the cobblestone is these trapdoors up here. And the reason why they do break it is because they're not a full block, they're technically a very small bit. So whenever the cobblestone generates, this technically is an entity, or just a moving mechanism in create terms, that will be pushed into the same block that the cobblestone is taking up, and then turn solid, which overwrites the current block that is there, breaking it. And you can see this whenever the machine actually turns on. You can see that the trapdoors will be pushed into the space where the cobblestone gets generated, and whenever they get turned back into a block instead of a moving machine, they override the cobblestone that's there and break it immediately. And as for why the lava doesn't get consumed, I actually don't know this 100%. My best guess is that Create itself kind of checks around where the lava is getting pushed to and being like, oh, okay, it's obviously getting pushed to a place where there's water. That lava will be immediately turned into cobblestone so it doesn't consume it. I'm not 100% sure myself. It could be that the particles that come out of the actual pumps themselves is what's generating the cobblestone, because you can see there is a lot of particles coming out. I am not 100% sure myself, but for whatever reason, it works the way it does, and it is not a bug, it's not a glitch, it's just how Create works with their pumps. On other versions of Minecraft, leaves don't get waterlogged. Is there another block that I can use, or is there a way to just have water itself? Now, I always thought that the earlier versions of Minecraft, I think it was like 1.18, had waterlogged leaves available. I'm not sure when they were added. I tried to look it up, but I could not find when specifically the waterlogged leaves were added to the game. I'm currently on version 1.20.1, so if I waterlog leaves, it works perfectly fine. You can see those particles turn blue, which works fine. So if you don't have the option to waterlog leaves, what can work is if you can waterlog things, you can obviously use a piece of stair. That works just as fine, or a slab. That will also work. And to make sure water doesn't flow everywhere, you just need a few signs, and that'll work fine. But if you don't, then all you really need to do is just make sure that the water is basically by itself. And what you can do is, instead of using anything and waterlogging it, you can just surround the water in trapdoors like that. And when you put a fan down and waterlog it, you can see same thing happens. All of these will be perfectly fine for washing items. So whatever you want to do, it's up to really personal preference. I personally just use leaves because the leaves are really easy to get. It's just one thing, and I have all of this extra space around it to build and do whatever else I want to do instead of having to rely on signs. Another question I got pretty frequently, actually, was all about lag. Now, if you guys never played with the Create mod, or you've just watched videos on people playing with it, you don't really know how extensive the lag can get, especially with very, very large Create machines. I wouldn't consider this a big one. I'd consider this as a medium-sized machine because it's not super big. It just works how it is and is pretty compact in all forms where it can be. The most lag that this thing will be producing is only because of how the cobblestone is being generated and broken. All of these cobblestone blocks are being generated and broken all at the same time. And with that amount of blocks being generated and broken all in the same tick, that is what overloads some of your guys' computers. Or it can overload your computer, depending on, how powerful it is. I have a pretty decent computer, so this runs fine for me. It doesn't lag too badly, but if you have maybe, I'd say, 2 or 3 of these guys set up, it can start to, generate a decent amount of lag. And the create items themselves are also decently laggy. They can drop your FPS a good amount, especially if you have big machines using a lot of, let's say, cog wheels, or just shafts in general like these, whatever. I'd consider this fairly small on the actual create side of things, along the lines of, lag being generated from the create items themselves instead of just what's happening. The best way to use this machine is just to leave it running overnight where lag wouldn't be a problem. That's mainly what I do, is I just do what I need to do during the day. If I have no iron left over and I want a big amount of iron for, let's just say, a future project, or I'm making a lot of stuff using iron or decorational stuff, whatever, doesn't matter. Leave the machine running overnight, and it'll work perfectly fine. Lag shouldn't be an issue, and there will be sometimes little bits of cobblestone. You could see that there was a little bit stuck up in these little pockets between the mechanical pumps. But again, every 5 minutes those guys will clear out and you'll be all good to go again. So that is hardly ever a source of lag. Another question I saw a lot of the time was that gantry shafts or just gantry carriages themselves were getting washed away by water. I don't know why or how that could be happening. As you can tell with this version on 1.20.1, you can see these guys are just holding in the water just fine. Even over here, these gantry shafts aren't getting washed away at all. Even if I put water right on top of them, nothing really happens. And it doesn't wash them away at all. Even the gantry carriages themselves, if I just have this guy move around, you can see, works just fine. It just takes away the water whenever it reaches the end of the shaft, and then doesn't get washed away even during its movement. I actually did take the time to look this up. You can see here, horizontal gantry shafts are broken by water, but vertical ones are not. And you can see this is on the official Create GitHub, and it is an issue that has been opened since September 5th, 2023. And you can see right down here, someone who has something to do with the Create mod added the type bug label on September the 5th. So this is a bug, and there's not really a way to really counter it besides changing your Minecraft version. You can see here they were on Minecraft version 1.20.1, which is the version I was playing on. So it could be to do with whatever Create version you're on. So if you have an older version of Create on an older version of Minecraft, just see if there's an update that was put out since you downloaded the mod pack or just made it in general. And that should be good to go, and hopefully that fixes the problem. That's gonna be it for me. I hope this video was even just a little bit helpful on how to fix or debug some of the problems that you might be having with the cobblestone generator and or just the iron farm in general. And if you do want to learn how to make the full iron farm, there will be a link in the description to the original video where I show you how to make this cobblestone generator and the rest of the iron farm bits as well. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night depending on where you are, and I will talk to you all later.